An eventful morning in Jetsland, and to the extent that Jetsland this week extends all the way to London, where our humble host Rich Eisen is coming off of calling what ended up being the final game of the Robert Saleh era. Rich, I give you the floor. Your reaction when you got that news early afternoon London time.
Absolutely stunned. Absolutely stunned. Didn't see it coming. Didn't feel it. Didn't see any pressure felt. Didn't feel tightening of anything. The only second that Robert Saleh even intimated anything on this front or twitched in anything close to this direction during our broadcast meeting, which turned out to be his last as the head coach of the Jets, was he said that it was a disappointing result against the Broncos, and that's the difference between being 3-1 or 2-2 and fire everybody. That's what he said. And all of us in the meeting when he left thought he was referring to, the longtime listener, first time caller set in the 24/7, 365, sports talk radio world that was born out of New York City, pretty much. That was the extent of it. Didn't sense it. Aaron Rodgers talked about his relationship with Saleh as being positive, as being good. The only difference between last year and this year with Saleh and Rodgers potentially was the fact that Saleh showed up in offensive meetings for the first time as the HC of the NYJ. He had never been in offensive meetings before, but I guess wanted to be in on those this year. Due to its extreme importance, and in my estimation, feeling that the other side of the football was just fine. So that's just my sense of it. I have no idea what this accomplishes. I have absolutely no idea what this accomplishes, other than telling everybody you need to be on your P's and Q's. But I think everybody assumed that coming into the season, that Rodgers has even mentioned that if it doesn't work out there this year, then everybody's pretty much gone.
Right.
Everybody has acknowledged what's been at stake this season. I just have no earthly idea what handing everything over to the defensive coordinator, Jeff Ulbrich, who's never been an HC in the NFL before, what this accomplishes, other than you're taking away the play caller of the guy on the side of the football that's actually been performing in championship level. Honestly, I'm at a loss, totally gobsmacked. Don't know why this would need to happen. And just my one last observation here: if you're Devontae Adams, why would you want to join a team that just fired their coach? Why would you want to join a team that has no future direction at the head coaching position? When this is something he just dealt with in Las Vegas, that everything that he went to Vegas to sign up for, playing with his college quarterback for Josh McDaniels, and then McDaniels reverses course, sends Derek Carr going. He sticks around in Las Vegas, and then they fire McDaniels, and in comes an interim head coach with whom obviously he doesn't see eye to eye, or doesn't see eye to eye about the future of that franchise, and wants out because clearly they're at a crossroads where Antonio Pierce is saying he doesn't even know who the starting quarterback next week for the Raiders is going to be. And so he's going to want to join a team that just fired their head coach. Why would he want to do something like that, even with Aaron Rodgers there? It makes no sense to do something like this unless there's something completely beneath the surface I'm unaware of. And that's why I turn to you as my information man and the guy sitting in the chair today. What are you hearing?
Well, this has all taken place here, obviously, very recently, Rich. So, I mean, I've had some conversations this morning. The first thing I would point out is Robert Saleh joins a long list of head coaches who have been fired after a appearance and a loss on the international stage in London. The difference between Saleh and those other coaches is his owner happens to be the former ambassador to that exact country that you were playing in, perhaps had some friends there for the game.
Oh
Perhaps
my
this
gosh.
was a bigger
Like
deal.
egg on the face with all of his
For
British friends there,
for
Tom.
Woody
I mean,
Johnson, there are a lot of connections here, but at the same time, Rich, when you realistically step back, I mean, 2 weeks ago, what were we talking about with the Jets? They went in, they took care of business against the Titans. You're 2-1. You were seeing those flashes of Aaron Rodgers. Everybody seemed pumped up that this is headed in the right direction. You have an ugly loss. It is impacted, obviously, by the rain and the elements last week against Denver. And then you played a Vikings team that's been a buzzsaw and has absolutely demolished the Houston Texans, and they beat the 49ers, and they just went into Lambeau.
I get it, Tom. I know what
team.
happened. No, I know what happened in terms of the wins and losses. And I'm sure you want to talk egg on your face. Sam Darnold's the winning quarterback who's 5-0. And I'm sure he might be looking around Woody Johnson and saying, what the hell is going on around here? But firing the head coach after 5 games, and he's never replaced the head coach in the middle of the season. And I know what this is just first blush, and I'm looking for an answer to what may be unexplainable, other than the fact that he thinks this might spark something. I don't know. It's not that side of the ball that needs sparking.
Well, I would say this too, Rich. Just in watching the game, and the Robert Saleh that we've known for so long has been the energized guy who's on the field back in the San Francisco days and flexing to his defense and getting pumped up. It's one of the things where in hindsight, I noticed it during the game on Sunday morning. And now that you think in retrospect, you start to pull apart a little bit more. Robert Saleh didn't look quite the same on the sideline. And I wonder if every time you're seeing him, and whether it's offense, defense on the field, he's not talking, there's not a lot of emotion. I wonder to the extent that Woody Johnson certainly has ears and eyes open to a lot of things and what the perception of the franchise is. And you just wonder when you've got a guy like Jeff Ulbrich, who's very well respected in the building. He's a former player. Yes. He is a high energy guy himself, that you can convince yourself that this is going to just change the energy around the building. To the point on Davante Adams, I mean, think about this. I don't know precisely, Rich, Davante Adams' sleep schedule, but as of yesterday, before that game with the Saints and the Chiefs, it was still clear from people I talked to, the 2 teams that were the most likely landing spots were the Jets and the Saints. Well, the Saints have Derek Carr suffer an oblique injury. His status is unclear at minimum going forward here. So Davante Adams goes to bed to that news and then wakes up this morning to Robert Saleh has been fired, and suddenly the 2 most logical destinations for him, the landscape of that has changed. But the thing with the Jets is Aaron Rodgers is still there. As we discussed on the show yesterday, Aaron Rodgers was throwing passes in that London game that very much looked like he was relying on Davante Adams or someone else to make a Davante Adams-like play for him. We'll see over the next 24 hours what this does to the Davante Adams trade talks, because there's still reason to believe if this is going to happen, it makes sense for it to happen now. There also are not a lot of instances. I mean, last year it was at the trade deadline, the Raiders fired Josh McDaniels 3 hours later. So I think timelines are kind of out the window on how all this stuff plays out, but it still makes sense in the Adams case. If he's going to be a New York Jet, it happens today on the same day that they've just made a change at the top.
Rich, and I just want to push back a little bit, too. I think this strengthens the case that Davante Adams is going to the Jets because he knows who's in charge. Aaron Rodgers is in charge, and why wouldn't he want to go play with this guy?
Now, I understand that that's going to be, a widely held belief that Rodgers is in charge. I think anybody who's had their ear to the ground, I'm free to say this sort of stuff. Tom, I know you need sources 15 ways to Sunday in order to start saying things with conviction. All I'm hearing is that Rodgers has been all over Davante Adams for weeks, and that he has been talking to him, and that they have been wide open in their communication. And obviously, this might be in its situation where Rodgers is like, I don't know what's going on around here. I love the new DC. I love the DC. He'll be a great HC, and you should still come here. That may be the case. I have no idea if Saleh has been in everybody's ear on 3rd and 4th down, like say something that happened in the London game, 3rd and short, 4th and short. They hand it off twice. Rodgers might be looking around saying, why is this ball being taken out of my hands? That could have been Saleh pressing on his headset saying, run it. I have no idea what's going on there. Clearly not a lot of people do. And this could be a situation where Adams does know Rodgers can get his way and he'll go there. But what about the year after? What about the year after that? What about the year after that? And you do have to sit here and wonder if Rodgers is even sitting around saying, why did I decide to do this? I should have retired a year ago. I have no idea. Nobody really does. It's just kind of surprising that you would switch a head coach in midstream. And if I'm Lamar Jackson, I'm on the phone to Davante Adams saying, hey, man, hope you like Edgar Allan Poe for more than just his poetry. And that's why you posted what you posted. Because my coach here is the most tenured coach behind Andy Reid in all of football, along with Mike Tomlin. So we're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. We're going to the Super Bowl with you. You should come here. And Eric DeCosta makes the move and does this before the Jets even put all their pieces together by the end of the day. That's what I would do if I were the Ravens. But again, you're right, Chris. Rodgers may be on the phone right now to Davante Adams, salting that away with Joe Douglas after he's calling up saying, what gives? Because I don't think he saw this one coming either. Again, I was around them, and everybody could keep a wall up and not say anything. But I didn't get a sense that this was an eggshell situation at all. But here we are.
Yeah, I wonder if Robert Saleh feels relieved in any way that the headache, the stress, the drama is just all over now. Finally,
I don't know. I don't think anybody wants to be 20-36 and have being fired in the middle of the season, in the middle of what he thinks he could have turned around. Maybe that honestly, it could be. We're all grasping at straws here.
Yeah,
maybe
totally.
And I know this shove. Everybody views it as Rodgers hated him. Again, both guys said that this was him, Saleh, giving Rodgers crap for not giving a 2-score lead to the defense, and this was Rodgers' way of pushing him back and saying, "There's your 2-score lead, brother." And I know everyone's viewing this and the cadence gate and all that as a sign of a rift between the quarterback and the head coach, and the narrative will definitely be Rodgers went to Woody Johnson and said, fire the coach. I don't know, man. I'm not going to go in that direction. I do not know the answer. All I know is I didn't feel it, I didn't sense it, and didn't think when the Jets lost that game, if Mike Williams had turned his head and played defense on Stephon Gilmore, had they actually scored and beaten the Vikings, this would be different. Is that what we're saying? 3-2? He would not have had egg on his face around, his buddies, out here in the UK. I don't know what it is. All I know is it's shocking. Didn't see it coming, and don't know how it actually fixes things. But if they did need an actual burst of energy, Ulbricht's a different guy. That is for sure. And maybe we'll see a different voice. And what a game it is now. That Monday night, week 6 against the Bills. This is it. You lose a home game with the Bills. You fall 2.5 behind them with an interim head coach. I don't know how that works forward, but man, how about that? Sam Darnold goes in. Vikings beat the Jets. Sam Darnold beats the Jets, and now we're seeing a ghost at the HC. It's kind of wild.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.